Have you ever noticed how Japan seems to be living about 20 years in the future? From the moment you step foot in the country, you realize they've figured out solutions to problems you didn't even know existed. Today, we're diving into 13 Japanese ideas that are so brilliant, so practical, and so necessary that honestly, the rest of the world needs to catch up immediately. And hey, if you love discovering genius ideas from around the globe, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button right now. Trust me, you won't regret it. Let's kick things off with something you'll find in every Japanese bathroom: heated toilet seats with built-in bidets. I know. You might be thinking this sounds weird if you've never experienced it, but hear me out. Japanese toilets are like the smartphones of the bathroom world. You sit down and the seat is perfectly warm, even in the dead of winter. No more shocking cold porcelain at 3 in the morning. But it gets better. These toilets have bidet functions with adjustable water pressure and temperature, air dryers, deodorizers, and even sound effects to mask any embarrassing noises. Some models analyze your health metrics. We're talking about a bathroom experience that's hygienic, comfortable, and environmentally friendly because you're using way less toilet paper. The rest of the world is still living in the dark ages, scratching their heads, while Japan has turned a basic human necessity into a luxurious, clean experience. Once you've used one of these, going back to a regular toilet feels like downgrading from a sports car to a bicycle. Next up, let's talk about Japanese convenience stores, or as they're known locally, konbini. These aren't your average gas station stops with stale coffee and questionable hot dogs. Konbini like 7-Eleven, Lawson, and Family Mart are absolute game changers. Open 24/7, they're located literally everywhere, and they offer fresh, delicious, high-quality meals at incredibly reasonable prices. We're talking perfectly seasoned fried chicken, fresh sushi, rice balls with dozens of filling options, hot noodles, and sandwiches that would put most cafes to shame. But food is just the beginning. Need to pay your bills? Done. Print documents? Easy. Buy concert tickets? No problem. Get your online shopping delivered? They've got you covered. Some even have ATMs that accept foreign cards and offer basic banking services. The staff is unfailingly polite. The stores are spotlessly clean. And everything just works seamlessly. Imagine if every neighborhood around the world had this level of convenience and quality available around the clock. It would transform urban living completely. Moving on to something that makes everyday life so much easier: umbrella etiquette and infrastructure. Japan gets serious rainfall, especially during rainy season, so they've developed an entire system around umbrellas that's frankly genius. First, umbrella lockers and stands are everywhere. Outside every store, restaurant, and office building, you'll find dedicated spots to leave your wet umbrella so you're not dragging moisture and puddles inside. Many places have these long plastic sleeves that you slip your wet umbrella into before entering, keeping floors dry and safe. But businesses provide these for free because they understand it benefits everyone. There are even umbrella sharing systems in some cities where you can borrow an umbrella from one location and return it to another, kind of like bike sharing but for rain protection. And get this, people actually return them. The culture of respect and community responsibility makes the system work. Contrast this with most other countries where you're stuck holding a dripping umbrella while shopping or eating, creating slip hazards and general chaos. Japan looked at rain, a completely normal weather event, and said, let's make this work for everyone. Number 4 is about sleep and productivity, and it's called inamuri. This is the socially accepted practice of napping in public, but here's the twist that makes it uniquely Japanese. Inamuri literally means sleeping while present, and it's actually seen as a sign that you're working so hard, you're exhausted. If you fall asleep on the train during your commute, at your desk between tasks, or even in a meeting, people don't judge you as lazy. Instead, they respect that you're dedicated enough to push yourself to exhaustion. Obviously, there are appropriate and inappropriate times, but the general acceptance of power napping recognizes a basic human need for rest. Compare this to Western work culture where falling asleep at your desk might get you fired, or at minimum labeled as uncommitted. Japan understands that sometimes a 20-minute nap makes you way more productive than forcing yourself to stay awake and work at half capacity. Research backs this up completely. Power naps improve memory, creativity, and decision-making. If companies worldwide adopted this attitude and created comfortable nap spaces, productivity would probably skyrocket, and employees would be happier and healthier. Let's talk about the Japanese concept of omotenashi, which is anticipatory hospitality. This isn't just customer service, it's an entire philosophy of anticipating needs before they're expressed and providing care without expecting anything in return. Walk into any Japanese establishment and you'll experience this immediately. Restaurant staff bring you water without asking. Hotel rooms include items you didn't know you'd need. Store employees wrap your purchases beautifully as a standard practice, not a special service. The idea is to put yourself in the customer's shoes and think about what would make their experience better. Let's then do it before they have to ask. There's no tipping culture in Japan, so this incredible service isn't motivated by financial incentive. It comes from genuine pride in doing your job well and treating others with respect. Imagine if this mindset was adopted globally. Every interaction would be smoother, more pleasant, and more thoughtful. Customer service wouldn't be about meeting minimum standards or chasing tips. It would be about authentic care and excellence for its own sake. The ripple effects on society would be enormous. Number 6 is practical brilliance at its finest. Vending machines for everything, everywhere. Japan has over 5 million vending machines, which is roughly one for every 25 people. And these aren't just soda machines. You can buy hot and cold beverages with seasonal options, fresh eggs, rice, umbrellas, flowers, hot meals, ice cream, batteries, and even emergency supplies. They're strategically placed in urban areas, suburbs, and remote locations, providing access to necessities around the clock. The machines are reliable, well-maintained, and virtually never vandalized because of Japan's low crime rate and culture of mutual respect. Some machines now accept mobile payments and IEIC cards, making transactions instant. This system works because it combines technology, trust, and practicality. For other countries, especially those with aging populations or rural areas where stores are far apart, expanding vending machine infrastructure could provide essential access to goods without needing staffed stores. It reduces labor costs, provides convenience, and serves communities efficiently. The Japanese have proven this model works beautifully when society respects shared resources. Now let's discuss something urban planners everywhere should study: mixed-use zoning laws. In Japan, residential and commercial areas aren't strictly separated like they are in many Western countries. You'll find small shops, restaurants, and businesses nestled right into neighborhoods alongside homes. This means you can walk a few minutes from your apartment and find grocery stores, cafes, dry cleaners, and more without needing a car. This approach creates vibrant, walkable communities where everything you need is accessible. It reduces car dependency, lowers carbon emissions, encourages small business growth, and fosters community connections because you're constantly interacting with your neighbors at local establishments. The kids can safely walk to nearby stores, elderly people maintain independence longer, and streets stay lively throughout the day. Contrast this with suburban sprawl where you need to drive everywhere, creating traffic, pollution, and isolation. Japanese mixed-use zoning proves that integrating commercial and residential spaces creates healthier, more sustainable, and frankly more enjoyable communities. Cities struggling with congestion and urban planning nightmares should take notes immediately. Next is a small innovation that makes a huge difference: plastic food models called sanparu displayed outside restaurants. If you've walked through any Japanese dining district, you've seen these incredibly realistic replicas of menu items sitting in the windows. They show you exactly what the dish looks like, what portion size to expect, and help you decide what to order, even if you can't read the menu or speak the language. For tourists and locals alike, this removes the guesswork and anxiety from ordering food. You point to what looks good, and that's what you get. These models are handcrafted works of art, often made from vinyl and silicone, painted with meticulous detail to match the real dishes perfectly. The practice started in the early 20th century and has become a standard practice nationwide. For international cities with diverse populations and tourists, adopting this practice would make dining accessible to everyone regardless of language barriers. It's visual communication at its finest, practical, beautiful, and incredibly effective. No more ordering something blind and being disappointed when it arrives. Let's move to transportation efficiency. South Japan's train system is legendary for good reason. Trains arrive on time down to the minute. The average delay on the Shinkansen bullet train network is less than 1 minute per year, including delays caused by natural disasters. When trains are even slightly late, staff apologize profusely and issue delay certificates for passengers to show employers or schools. The stations are clean, safe, and designed for maximum efficiency with clear signage in multiple languages. Priority seating is respected, people queue orderly, and there's a general culture of consideration for fellow passengers. The technology is constantly improving, with trains reaching speeds over 300 kilometers per hour while maintaining comfort and safety. The system connects cities seamlessly, making car ownership optional rather than necessary. Imagine if every country invested in reliable, punctual, comprehensive public transit. Traffic congestion would decrease dramatically, air quality would improve, and people would gain back hours spent sitting in traffic. Japan has proven that public transportation can be the preferred choice when it's done right. Here's something that addresses food waste brilliantly: individual portion packaging and freshness dating. Japanese supermarkets and convenience stores package items in appropriate portion sizes and clearly mark not just expiration dates, but also the exact time items were prepared. Bento boxes show when they were made that morning. Sandwiches indicate freshness windows. This transparency helps consumers make informed choices and reduces the likelihood of food waste at home. Then stores also discount items approaching their sell-by time, encouraging purchase rather than disposal. The portion sizes prevent people from buying more than they need, which is especially useful for single-person households or elderly individuals. While some criticize the plastic use, the trade-off is significantly less food waste, which is actually a bigger environmental issue than packaging in many cases. The key is the cultural understanding that freshness matters and waste is unacceptable. If this approach was balanced with sustainable packaging materials and adopted globally, we could seriously reduce the massive amounts of food waste plaguing developed nations while respecting consumers' desire for quality and freshness. Number 11 is about footwear and cleanliness, the practice of removing shoes indoors and providing slippers. In Japan, you take off your outdoor shoes when entering homes, many restaurants, temples, some offices, and even certain hotels. This isn't just tradition, it's practical hygiene. Shoes track in dirt, germs, and pollutants from outside. By leaving them at the entrance, you keep living spaces dramatically cleaner. Most places provide slippers for guests, and there are even separate toilet slippers that you switch into before using the bathroom and leave behind when you exit. This system creates clear boundaries between outside and inside, clean and potentially dirty. It reduces the need for constant floor cleaning, protects flooring materials, and creates a more comfortable, homey atmosphere. People can sit on floors without concern, kids can play safely, and overall hygiene improves. Many Asian cultures practice this, but Japan has refined it into a seamless system. Western countries often resist this practice, but adopting it would mean cleaner homes, less tracking of allergens and toxins indoors, and honestly, more comfortable living spaces. Plus, your floors and carpets would last way longer. Let's talk about earthquake preparedness and disaster readiness. Japan sits on the Pacific Ring of Fire and experiences thousands of earthquakes annually, so they've developed the most advanced disaster preparation systems in the world. Buildings are constructed with sophisticated earthquake-resistant technology. Early warning systems send alerts to phones seconds before tremors hit, giving people crucial time to take cover. Schools conduct regular disaster drills so children know exactly what to do. Every household keeps emergency kits with water, food, first aid supplies, flashlights, and radios. Public spaces have clearly marked evacuation routes and designated shelter areas. Coastal areas have tsunami walls and elevated evacuation platforms. After major disasters, the coordination of rescue efforts, distribution of supplies, and community support is remarkably efficient. The cultural emphasis on group welfare over individual panic means people help each other rather than creating chaos. While hopefully most countries won't face Japan's level of seismic activity, the preparedness mindset and infrastructure investment are are applicable to any disaster scenario, whether earthquakes, hurricanes, floods, or other emergencies. Being prepared saves lives. Period. Japan's approach should be the global standard for disaster readiness. Finally, let's discuss something that transforms urban aesthetics and community pride. Immaculate public spaces and the cultural responsibility for cleanliness. In Japan, you'll notice something immediately. The streets are incredibly clean despite a surprising lack of public trash cans. How is this possible? Cultural conditioning and personal responsibility. From childhood, Japanese people are taught to take their trash home with them or dispose of it properly. School children clean their own classrooms and school grounds, instilling pride in shared spaces. After sporting events, fans clean up the stadiums before leaving. There's a collective understanding that public spaces belong to everyone, so everyone has responsibility for maintaining them. Littering isn't just rude, it's a violation of social contract. Graffiti is virtually non-existent. Parks, streets, and transit stations shine with cleanliness not because of massive cleaning crews, but because people simply don't make messes in the first place. Imagine if this mindset was adopted worldwide. Cities would be more beautiful, maintenance costs would plummet, and there would be genuine pride in community spaces. It starts with education and culture, teaching children that caring for shared environments is everyone's duty. Japan proves that clean public spaces aren't about enforcement. They're about collective values and mutual respect. So, there you have it. 13 Japanese innovations that range from high-tech toilets to cultural practices, each one solving real problems in elegant, thoughtful ways. The common thread through all of these ideas is a combination of respect, efficiency, community-mindedness, and the belief that small improvements in daily life matter. Japan hasn't achieved perfection. No country has. But they've absolutely nailed certain aspects of modern living that deserve global attention and adoption. Which of these ideas do you think your country needs most? Let me know in the comments below, and if you enjoyed this deep dive into Japanese innovation, make sure you're subscribed because we explore brilliant ideas from cultures around the world. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Before we wrap up, I want to dig deeper into why these ideas actually work so well in Japan, because the innovations themselves are only half the story. The real magic happens because of the mindset behind them. There's something fundamentally different about how Japanese society approaches problem solving. And instead of asking what's the bare minimum we can do, they ask what's the best we can possibly do. That distinction matters enormously. When you're designing a toilet, you could stop at basic functionality. Japan says, how can we make this comfortable, hygienic, environmentally responsible, and even fun? That philosophy extends to everything. It's not about cutting corners or maximizing profit at the expense of quality. It's about taking pride in work, understanding that the details compound into better lives for everyone. What's also crucial to understand is that these systems don't exist in isolation. They're interconnected parts of a larger cultural ecosystem, built on principles of respect, responsibility, and consideration for others. The clean streets work because of the education system and family values. The excellent customer service works because people aren't desperate for tips to survive. The efficient trains work because maintenance workers take their jobs seriously and passengers respect shared spaces. You can't just copy one idea and expect it to work if you ignore the cultural foundation underneath it. That's actually the biggest lesson here. Other countries can absolutely adopt these innovations, but they require a commitment to the values that make them possible. Another thing worth considering is that Japan wasn't always perfect at these things. These systems evolved over decades. The toilet technology started simple and kept improving. The train network took massive investment and refinement. The cleanliness culture didn't happen overnight. It took consistent education, policy implementation, and generational shift. This is important because it means any country can start this journey. You don't need to be perfect immediately. You need commitment, consistency, and willingness to learn and adjust. Small towns around the world could start with better mixed zoning. Schools could incorporate cleanliness and community responsibility into their curriculum. Hospitals and offices could experiment with nap rooms. Cities could invest in better public transportation, step by step. These changes compound. One generation grows up with better infrastructure and values, then builds even better systems for the next generation. I should also mention that while these ideas are genuinely brilliant, Japan faces its own challenges that we didn't really touch on. Aging population, work culture that can be brutal despite the napping acceptance, housing costs in cities, and social pressures around conformity. No society is perfect. The point isn't that Japan is flawless, it's that they've solved specific problems in ways that genuinely improve daily life. We can learn from what works without idealizing an entire country. It's about selective inspiration. Take the ideas that resonate with your own community's needs and values, adapt them to your context, and see what happens. The beauty of innovation is that it doesn't have to be invented from scratch. Some of the best solutions are already working somewhere in the world, proven and refined. We just need to pay attention, understand why they work, and have the courage to implement them even if they're different from how we've always done things. Resistance to change is natural, but looking at Japan's success in these areas should convince you that some changes are absolutely worth making. I'm genuinely curious what you'll take away from this. Will you start thinking differently about your own community? Maybe you'll see a problem you've always accepted as normal and realize it doesn't have to be that way. Maybe you'll appreciate certain services more knowing what's possible. Or maybe you'll feel inspired to advocate for changes in your own area. That's the real power of understanding what works elsewhere. It shifts your perspective on what's possible. Thanks again for diving into this exploration with me. If you found yourself thinking about any of these ideas more than once, that's a good sign to subscribe and stick around. We keep digging into these kinds of insights that make you see the world differently. Hit that subscribe button, leave a comment with the idea you think would help your community most, and I genuinely hope to see you watching the next one.